The strangest facts about lotteries. Many of us have probably heard the phrase that you're more likely to get struck by lightning than you are to win the lottery in your lifetime. And it's completely true. The odds of getting hit by lightning in our lifetimes are roughly 1 in 15,300. This is according to the most recent data from the National Weather Service. And according to Mega Millions, the odds of winning that jackpot are 1 in 302.5 million. But so many people still are lured with the temptation of spending money on lottery tickets, hoping to get that jackpot. The slim chances of winning the lottery doesn't stop people from playing, and it's hard to blame anyone that plays the lottery. It's a serious dopamine hit. Lotteries are something that's deeply ingrained in many cultures. The first recorded lotteries date back to the Chinese Han Dynasty between 205 and 187 BC. The proceeds were believed to have helped finance major government projects such as the Great Wall of China. As for the US, King James created a lottery to help establish settlers in the first permanent English colony in Jamestown, Virginia, way back in 1612. Even Benjamin Franklin organized a lottery to raise money to purchase cannons for the defense of Philadelphia. It really does seem like the lottery is the fun version of taxing citizens. Throughout history, people have continued contributing because drawing a lucky number is alluring and tempting. Overall, approximately half of Americans play lotteries. And among the Americans that play, the average person spends a little over $1,000 a year on lotto tickets. But what are some of the unsavory secrets of lotteries? Anyone that needs money dreams of becoming rich, and the government isn't exactly innocent in feeding people this type of dream. In fact, one past study done by Duke University showed that ads for lotteries were more actively advertised in poor communities. Obviously, while no one is forced to buy a ticket, running more advertisements means more awareness, and that means more ticket sales. That study showed that the poorest third of households bought roughly half of all lotto tickets. In 2014, lotteries in 43 states generated roughly $70 billion on lottery ticket sales. What's most interesting to notice is that the spending wasn't distributed equally through income levels. For example, in North Carolina, the data showed that their poorest counties had the highest lottery sales. 18 out of their 20 counties with a poverty rate that was higher than 20% had spent more than the statewide average of $200 a year per person. A 2011 study from the Journal of Gambling Studies showed that poor people are the leading participants of lottery games in the US. And these are the exact areas where more ads for lotteries are run by state governments. Is actively advertising and relying on this demographic for state lottery revenue something that's ethical? A portion of state lottery profits do go to government services to benefit citizens, but some researchers speculate that this is actually a way to tax people that pay very little or no tax at all. Needless to say, lotteries are a great way for the government to bring in revenue. In 2009, 11 states made more money from their state lotteries than what their corporate income taxes brought in. For example, the lottery made more than twice as much corporate taxes in Rhode Island that year. Of course, the vast majority of the money is made up of people that did not win the lottery. But the irony is, winners, of course, end up paying a lot of their prize money back to the government. How does that even make sense? Needless to say, jackpots are never as big as they seem. The advertised amount is what's paid out as an annuity. If a winner chooses to take the lump sum, they'll get only about 60% of the advertised prize. They'll end up paying between 39 to a whopping 60% of their winnings in taxes, depending on the state and the winner's social security status. The lottery has been played up to be a great way to fund a state through a game. The money spent is supposed to go to public services to benefit citizens, such as in education. It's said that most lottery money goes to education, but does it really? Lottery money often goes into the general state fund, and from there, the money can be used for something else. Let's go back to North Carolina and use them as an example. They started their lottery in 2005 with the intention of giving 100% of its proceeds to North Carolina's public education budget. In fact, they even called it the North Carolina Education Lottery. But in 2009, North Carolina actually cut its education funding by 12%. Because the lottery was created, the state now allocates a smaller percentage of its budget to education than it did when the lottery started. Other states, such as California, Florida, and Michigan, also have reduced spending on education. So really, creating a lottery doesn't actually mean more government money is spent on education. It had the unintended effect of giving the responsibility of how much money is spent on education to lottery players. Let's go ahead and talk about scratch-off tickets. Did you know that the most popular scratch-offs actually have the worst return? Scratch-offs are a huge business. Many people assume that since payouts on scratch-off tickets are much smaller, the chances of winning are better. The fact is, they're not. Obviously, it goes without saying, every single lottery ticket has an expected payout that's lower than what's paid, but expected payouts vary very differently depending on the game. The cost to play lottery scratch-off tickets can range from $1 to $30 per game. The $1 scratch-off ticket seems like the safe pick just because of the low cost, but the classic recommendation from lottery purists is to go with the highest priced tickets. These typically have the highest expected rates of return. For example, New York's $30 win $1 million a year for life ticket has an average expected payout of 88 cents per dollar spent. That means an average loss of about $3.60 per ticket purchase. Then there's the Lucky Tripler, which is only $1 a ticket. This has an expected payout of only 59 cents on the dollar. But it's not always the case. New York's Instant Take 5 has a payout of 84 cents per dollar, and this ticket only costs $1 to buy. But that's an exception. Most of the scratch-off tickets from the New York lottery in the $1 to $10 range pay off roughly 61 cents per dollar. We know that a lot of money is made from various lotteries around the country, but how do retailers benefit as ticket sellers? Well, lottery sales make up roughly 30 to 40% of the revenue for convenience stores. For each dollar spent, they earn 7%. And because lottery tickets are always so popular, what retailers earn from lottery tickets adds up a pretty big commission. According to the North Carolina Education Lottery, their retailers earn $181 million in commissions in 2018. Retailers are incentivized to sell more tickets with lottery commissions. And we can't forget about the bonus they get when the jackpot is won from them selling a winning ticket. A retailer who sells a winning jackpot ticket in North Carolina's Powerball or Mega Millions games earns an extra $50,000. And a store that sells a scratch-off ticket with a $1 million prize or larger, they get a $10,000 prize. But if that wasn't enough, many store clerks have another way of earning money from the lottery. The answer is as simple as telling someone that they didn't win when in fact they really did. There have been cases where lottery retailers scam people, and when it happens, most people believe them. It's as simple as the retailer keeping the ticket and cashing in on the winnings themselves. This is actually a pretty common issue that has led to lotteries employing their own law enforcement to prevent this type of fraud. In Michigan, state auditors found 37 store owners turning in winning tickets worth about $3.6 million in 2012 and 2013. One retailer in particular collected 107 winning tickets worth around $346,000 in 2013. Was that fraud? Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to prove. Lottery officials also find retailers who are cashing in winning tickets for a fee. They do it for people who don't want to collect their winnings personally. The reasons why range from owing back taxes, child support payments, or other debts that states generally just withhold from lottery winnings. However, California is one state that's cracking down on the corruption. Authorities have been doing sting operations to protect lottery winners from the scams that a lot of retailers run. In a 2006 survey by the Consumer Federation of America, they found that a fifth of Americans believe that winning the lottery is the best way for them to accumulate large savings. And in a 2019 survey by the investment app Stash, researchers found that about 40% of respondents, including 59% of millennials, believe that winning the lottery is a good way to fund their retirement. Despite the astronomically low chances of winning the lottery, it's obviously a giant misconception for people to actually rely on winning the lottery to fund their futures. But even if people do win, it's most likely not the golden ticket to a trouble-free life. A whopping 70% of people who win a big lottery actually go broke within a few years. This is a figure according to the National Endowment for Financial Education. But wait, how true is this fact? Actually, this is a made-up statistic that's lived on the internet for a long time. In fact, the organization themselves addressed this statistic. However, what can't be denied is just the sheer number of lottery winners that have won millions that have gone broke. Whether that percentage is high or low, it doesn't matter. The truth is that The number can be zero if winners or giant jackpots just don't engage in wealth-destroying behavior. However, lottery winners today do seem to be more financially savvy and seem to be much more educated because of more resources on the internet. Let's finally talk about happiness. Does winning the lottery actually make people happier in the long run? Does it really change lives for the better? Well, let's face it, winning the lottery can definitely solve most of our financial problems and therefore make us happier, right? The truth is, having a lot of money simply solves money problems, but it doesn't cure people of any underlying issues that they have had. Jack Whittaker was the famous 2002 Powerball winner. Despite actually not going broke, he said before that he wished he had torn his ticket up. He felt that the Powerball win brought too much publicity and brought out the worst in people. In 2009, an article in the International Journal of Psychiatry and Clinical Practice reported 2 German patients who were hospitalized for depression after they each won almost $500,000 in the lottery. In a classic 1978 study, the happiness levels of 22 lottery winners were compared with 22 people who didn't win any money. Their happiness levels were also studied with the happiness levels of 29 people who were paralyzed in accidents. The results? Researchers found that winning the lottery did not increase long-term happiness. The happiness of lottery winners spiked just after winning, but returned to pre-winning levels within a few months. In fact, the lottery winners were not significantly happier than the people who didn't win any money. And the most amazing thing? They found that people that became paralyzed in an accident did not have decreased long-term happiness either. The study showed that most people have a set level of happiness within. And no matter, even after life-changing events, people still return to that set point. The truth is, the thrill of winning the lottery eventually wears off. Here's what's next.